Let's do that one.
Yikes, are you scatting for us again?
I am. I am. I usually am while I am. Oh God, what is this?
Definitely a little bit last minute today. That's for sure.
oh, that's not going to work. We need apps.
In the meantime, I'm going to show you how to build this.
Did you 3D print some portion of it? Most of it?
No,
How and what?
this is a super cool company. I'll talk more about it. I 3D printed like Legos that you can put in the bag. Let me see. Like my 3D printed Lego pins.
Nice.
Well, hopefully not that nice. I would buy them because they break easily. But yeah, we can plug it into Lego, which is
What are
which is
you
cool.
printing them out of?
The pins.
Yeah.
Uh,
Which
I tried I tried PLA, ABS, and PETG. The problem is like printing them horizontally so that they're robust is just like a bitch.
yeah, the layer adhesion is the bottleneck there. Yeah.
Yeah, because like now they're printed vertically and it's like kind of easy to break them. Um,
Yeah, you can try a material with yeah, have you tried very hard TPUs?
yeah, I could try the TPU. I haven't printed in TPU yet, but I think it's just easier to buy them on eBay. You can get like a kilogram for like $30. So,
But yeah, you have like the different shore hardnesses, you know how flexible it
yeah,
is. So
yeah. Because I mean the other pieces are nice because you can build like a Lego adapter to whatever you have lying around, and then it becomes like pluggable. So those are
I
cool.
requested a join to your Google Meet you sent me.
You have requested a join. I don't see you. Oh, admit one guest. Okay.
There you go.
Admit. There we go. Can you see me? Can you see the screen? I guess.
I can see I can see the same. Okay, so now there's that thing. Okay, so now I can see a cursor. Yes, that's what I'm looking for.
Yep.
Okay, let me see. Is there a good way for me to make this more full screeny? Because it's not gonna. Hmm. Can I like pop out this maybe? Or do you want to just zoom in a little bit text-wise, maybe?
Yep.
Okay, cool. And then if I wish there was a way to like hide the people in the Google, can I like unpin us? Hmm, just view maybe spotlights, hide tiles without video. Yes. So it's supposed to be hiding the tile, but it's not, which is kind of annoying. Oh well, that's fine. Good enough for me. Let's do this and share that. Okay, so now my Google Meet is gone, but in theory, that's
We can
fine.
see that we can see Manuel's screen.
Oh,
Well
you
done.
can. Cool. You can see it.
Yeah, we should be in
All
good
right.
shape.
Perfect.
Maybe one
Perfect.
more tick zoom on cursor.
Yep. Close others. Zoom in. Is that good? And then the
That's
terminal.
good.
Can you see it?
Yes, we can see both. Although, yeah, we're a little cut off on the right side on cursor, but it's not a huge deal. Or
On the
presumably.
right
Yeah.
side. Yeah, I mean it's just for looking at files. We actually won't use it all that much.
Got it.
Um,
Yeah, we can read both of them. We should be in good shape. Is that good for everybody else? I don't think I can see chat right now, unfortunately. I need all three of us
So
to
far
I can
collaborate.
look.
seems okay. Yeah, we getting
Okay.
looks good to me.
I can look at chat. Well, I'll try to. Uh, All right, so I didn't really prepare since this was like a little bit last minute, but I'm going to show you what I've been doing a little bit for fun. Over the holidays, I've been buying devices of this company called M5Stack, which is really cool. They're based in Hong Kong and they do like embedded devices, development devices. They're extremely cheap and really nice quality and nice design. So I can show you some of those that I have. I don't know if you can see this. Yeah, there we go. So this is the card computer, which is like a little ESP32 S3 with Wi-Fi. It has like a display, it has like a keyboard, it has like an extension port, it has a speaker, it has a microphone. It can have like additional devices. This one's really fun. This is an LLM compute module. It can run like Qwen 06B as a standalone module, which is really fun. I know, Kevin, I think you have this one, wait, which is like a Wi-Fi enabled camera kind of gizmo.
Yep. Started playing
Um,
with it. Haven't gotten too far because other things subsumed my life, but yeah, it's super neat. And
uh,
it's hard to tell quite how incredibly small it is over the screen, even though
yeah,
you can see his hand there. But that it's like a
it's a
half
dice.
inch cubic or something like that. It's like a
Right.
yeah, six-sided die. It's ridiculously small to contain a webcam, an LLM processing thing, like all this stuff.
It doesn't have the LLM processing thing, but yeah, it has Wi-Fi, it has Bluetooth. It's a dual core, 300 megahertz, ESP32. It has like I think 8 megabyte of RAM, like 512 internal and then 8 megabyte external. It's a crazy device, right? It's it's like about 1,000 times more powerful than my first computer. And so they have a ton of sensors. What I really like about it is that they do have things like the schematic on there, or like at least the pinout, which is always very frustrating with other devices because you have to have like printout like this everywhere. Um, and so of course I was like, okay, let's I don't want to program these things. I just want to make cool stuff with it. Um, so I've been slowly building up to uh, being able to build really complex firmwares. And the demo I want to show today, like how I finally, like the engineering path that got me to this demo, which is simulating LED patterns for a bigger project, which I can show you, which is my colleague Jay here has his own like little lab, and he's building like sculptures. These here um, that are going to have the LEDs inside, and so I want him to play with the different patterns. And because I don't want to have like LEDs connected all the time, I decided to have this little simulator and then being able to play with it. So if you've seen on Discord, and I'm going to see if I can find it, the prompt for this, I think it was this one here. Yeah. So the prompt for this firmware that you've just seen, is that readable?
Let's see. Create a new
Oops.
ticket.
There we go.
Create a new ticket. Gonna build simulation. Let me display the chain on
Yeah.
screen.
Cool. So you can read it, right? So
Yep.
I said, create a new ticket. I'll get back to what Doc Manager is. You choose the name because I'm lazy. Well, we're going to build a card computer ADV. So this is the card computer ADV. GFX is the name of the GFX library. So this is not a keyword that I chose for fun. The 50 LED chain is also a keyword that I chose for very specific purposes. And the ESP32C6 is another, like one of these keywords that have very specific meanings that I'll get into. And the first task that I did is then, analyze the existing code base to find the relevant parts of the code base where we computed different patterns. Here again, these words are not chosen at random. And basically had to do, like an analysis document that it stores in the ticket. I have a bunch of prompts here that I found work well, like textbook style as if written by Peter Norvig is my latest favorite, which will create a document that we'll go over in detail because it kind of is like one of the magic of how I'm able to one-shot these things in a very reproducible manner. And then keep a detailed and frequent diary as you go along. This is the second part that is like kind of secret sauce. The really cool thing here is that you can see it's like 066. I've built, I don't know how many firmwares at this point. It's not 66 because at some point it jumped. It's like 56. And they're all very clean, very in the same style. They're all very like consistent. And I've been able also to extract a bunch of components that are also like very manageable as far as for the few times I've looked at their source code actually. And so, yeah, I'm using GPT-5 high. I don't know. It works well enough. I don't know if Codex is better or not. I know GPT-5 Codex felt worse. I don't know. It kind of doesn't matter anyway, I think. Yeah, I just got used to 5 high, and I've been having success with 5 Codex as well. I just can't really tell the difference. So to go into a little bit more of these, what does this prompt mean and why does it work? So the first thing is like Doc Manager here is a tool that I think Kevin has shown in a previous one, which basically forces the LLM to kind of create tickets in a very systematic manner. So they're going to be stored by date, then by number, and we can go into 0066, the ticket. It's going to have an index and the tasks MD, and then it's going to have different folders for different document types. And inside these document types, you're going to have markdown files. These markdown files, by virtue of being created by Doc Manager, are going to have like a little YAML preamble. The YAML preamble has a list of topics. You can define topics keywords for the project you're in. You have doc types, which are also all defined in like a vocabulary file. So this is the vocabulary file for the different topics. It's a bit of a mess. I have to refine that at some point, but you can see as documents, I have index, I have design doc, I have reference, I have playbook, and I have a skill. And then I can describe some different intents. One of the more important parts here is the related files, which basically for every documentation file I have in my ticket, this allows me to quickly say like, hey, by the way, if you read this file, this one's important too. And it's important because of a certain reason. So by virtue of this being at the top of the file, as soon as the LLM looks at it, it will get not only a summary, but it will also get like, oh, this seems related to these files. And it's also able to search them, right? So if I start a UI for this guy, actually, let me start the UI here. Doc Manager, API Serve. And then if I open a web browser, you'll see there's like maybe a little bit more. Hold on, what is going on? Why is this not running? Kevin, help me.
Let's see, what is it doing at the moment?
I don't know. It's not doing anything. That's funny. Now it's doing something. All right.
You might have had a conflict on it.
I don't know. So this is kind of like a YOLO GUI, but you can see for this ticket 0066, I can go into the documents, I can look into the deep research, and I'll see all the related files here. So it can tell me like, hey, by the way, there's a M5GFX firmware that you have built in the past as part of my long chain of projects I'll go into. And it's going to say like, oh, you said the word M5GFX. So clearly it's going to find this firmware. That's why I use the word GFX. I knew like, oh, there's a library called M5GFX. I've built projects with it in the past. So by virtue of putting this keyword, I know that it will find the firmware, that it will link it in a document, which means that in the future, every time you look at this document, it's going to be like, hey, there's already code for this thing, right? And then I can open the file and I can kind of look at it if I want to. And not only does it tell me this file is relevant, but it will also tell me why. So this is done for basically every file in the ticket. It will tell me like, hey, there's like these 3 files in the ticket, like there's different ways it links it. I'll leave it like whatever freedom it wants to do. And I can also like, if I go back to search here, I can do some pretty interesting things, which like looking up a file where I can say, hey, search for related files to main.c. And then it will do I don't even know how this works anymore. This might be a little bit jank. But it will do like a graph search on, oh, this file is mentioned in this ticket in this document, so these files are related, like that kind of query stuff. And all of this just works with having this like YAML preamble, right? Like I don't do there's no database, there's nothing, there's just like this little YAML preamble. And to resume, just to go back to what we were doing, if you look at the command, I'm sorry for scrolling so fast. If you look at the commands, which we don't see because they got removed when you resume. Okay, well, that's not all that cool. All right, so we'll play with creating a new ticket. But so it created this ticket, right? Then it started doing the deep research, and then it wrote this like diary. And the diary, I think, is what actually makes this work really well. The diary is basically just memory for the project, right? For this ticket. And in this diary, what I put in is I ask it to record the goal that it has. So not only does it like lock in the model on the goal that it says that it has, but it allows me to validate, oh, did it actually understand what I was prompting properly? It gives it the context. And wait, are we looking at the right file? Yeah. So I also ask it to like put in my prompt. So you can see there's like the literal prompt that I put in here. Then its interpretation of my prompt, and then what it thinks my intent is. 5.2 is a little bit spooky in that it's better able to express my intent than I am. So here we can see like, oh, I want a research back design that makes it easy to implement a faithful simulator. And here again, because it will just like look at the top of the file, usually when it browses it, it will see, what is this document for? It's to create this. Since it just created the ticket, it doesn't have like much to say about these things, but I always ask it like, what did you do? Why? What worked? What didn't work? What did you learn? What was tricky? What should I look at? What should be done in the future? And then code review instructions. And so this is a simple skill. I'll share it afterwards, but it's literally like, hey, write a diary with these 7 things. I don't try to like over constrain it or anything. And so as it progresses with its analysis, it will like kind of start explaining what it has been finding. And what's really interesting here is that if you look at these sentences, the token information content is really, really high, right? Like there's no slop in here. It will like say, oh, reusable pattern engine for producing per LED RGB values. That's like a very like dense sequence of words, the same way that this is like a very dense sequence of words because it refers to like 2 demos that I've done in the past. It will like also make a pretty good overview of what it has been doing. So I don't read code anymore. I don't read the conversation of the LLM. I don't read any of this stuff. I basically just look at this. And the cool thing is that I feel I have a really good sense of the code base, even though I've never looked at the source code. Like I'm able here to pinpoint certain things. I'm like, what is demo primitives? Like that sounds weird. So then I'll ask like, hey, explain demo primitives, right? Which means that in the diary now I'll have an explanation of demo primitives, which is like, if in the future I wanna refactor demo primitives, it's actually going to find this diary and it's going to be like, hey, it looks like you did already like question this or whatever, which is really cool, right? And so anything here it will find with greps. It loves grepping, so I know that it will latch on to these. And I don't know if it does it at some point. Like at some point, it's going to commit and it's going to link the commits as well. So that also makes it really powerful because I can say like, hey, look in Git, which ticket is related to this commit, and it will find them. So the diary, I think, is maybe the secret sauce in all of this, not only because it keeps the model on track really strongly, right? Like even though the context compaction of GPT-5 seems to be pretty good of Codex CLI, you just need to point it at this diary and it will like work. It will like catch up in like a couple of % of context window. So any question about this doc manager thing before I move on?
Yeah, do you keep these around, or do they tend to be like one-time use?
I keep them around because there's a lot of value in keeping them around, I think, because it will often grab like, or when you have like a bug, I can say like, hey, look, why did we build it this way? And it will find a diary and it will find all the related files. It will find the commits, so it's able to look at the commits to find what was the situation like back then. So how do I make sure that it always uses it? I basically say the word doc manager ticket, and that will load the skill. So because it has like such a distinctive name, I'm pretty sure that doc manager here, diary is also a skill trigger. That's enough. Yeah, I mean, every one of my prompts starts with like create a new ticket for the task at hand. Then I let it do an analysis. Now the next part that is interesting, and you'll see this here. Actually, in this case, I didn't do it. So yeah, let's do it now. So we are here, and it's like upload ticket to Remarkable. So this is another skill using a software that I wrote. So I have this Remarkable tablet, which is like a e-ink tablet. And so most of my work these days is actually done on the tablet, like 90% of my work, which is I will have it upload these documents that it created, right? Like the design document or the diary or whatever else. And then I'll just basically take my pen, get a coffee, and just like kind of go over it and be like, yeah, I'm not sure if this pattern's like all the right thing. And it's like, oh, I don't understand how the DMA thing works. And so I'll go over it away from the computer, right? Because it moves me away from this kind of like, gambling mindset of the agent. I like writing on paper or with pen anyway. And it basically allows me to really refine this understanding of the code base, because I'll be doing code review without sitting in front of my editor trying to infer things. I'll be working on these like higher level patterns, right? And I'll be like, hey, I don't understand this part. I'll make a little note. And when I come back to my codex, I'll go in and then I'll be like, hey, what is this about DMA transfer? And then what's the, right? Like I'll just write down my questions between the ESP32-C6 and the computer.
Are you in this case, are you so you have the diary that uploaded to Remarkable, which goes to your tablet. You walk away from the computer and you're making notes in the tablet on that document, right?
Yeah, so it just uploaded this, right? Like, so it makes like a single PDF with a table of contents with all the things.
So
of course, I had it I had it build itself, right? Like the remarkable process. This may be for another AI in action, but I had it like it's able to capture a screenshot of the frame buffer, and it's able to take a picture of the screen.
Got it. So
And
yeah,
so,
my follow on
and
my
then I
follow.
told it to build a rendering engine, which was pretty fun.
Nice. Okay, so you go away from the computer, you're making your notes to like kind of reset your brain differently. What I'm wondering is now that you're going back to the computer, are you relaying the notes that you wrote onto that document in the tablet? Are you now manually relaying that back into the computer, or is there, or have you considered,
Of course,
if
I have considered. I am not there
Wait,
yet.
manual doing something manually? No, he's gonna write. He's gonna have the LLM write
Well,
code to
no,
do it.
because it seems really interesting to me to be able to like scribble and circle and cross out and doodle or whatever, and have the model just be watching you do that rather than you having to go back and manually type in the thing, you know?
So I don't know if I've shown this before, and this is something I'm going to be playing with. I've been playing with like a DSL for creating. So right, like this is kind of a document about a code review, and I've made a DSL that like when you put it into a markdown document, it renders this kind of stuff.
Ooh.
So it basically allows you to render like little forms in there that you can use for either like, oh, design decisions that the model wants me to make, or like validating and understand things correctly. And I haven't gotten to integrate this into Doc Manager yet, but I basically for a design document where the model has options, I wanted to present them like this. And then I click 3 times and I say like, hey, please do it.
Is Doc Manager like hardwired into your Remarkable tablet, or is that just a common
No,
skill
that's
chain that
separate.
you use? Okay, got it. And those
That's
are both
separate.
skills that are just chaining together in that case from your prompt, right?
So Doc Manager is a program and it comes with a skill that says how to use it.
Okay, got it.
And then for the remarkable part, I use this other tool that I built, which I haven't even written a README. What the fuck is this? Like, I don't think I even merged it.
Nice, very based.
But so this thing, this is more like slugfest. It looks like I don't know what I did there, but it works,
Sure.
you know.
Yeah, as long as it works, that's what matters. Yeah.
And so the idea, what I want, which I've been showing to Kevin today a little bit, is like, oh, you know, you're uploading a PDF, just make me like, you know, one of these forms, and then I can just check things, and then it does OCR on them, and
Yeah.
just fills them out. So it's definitely something I want to do. There's only so much time in the day for cool stuff. All right. Any other questions so far? I don't really fully remember where I'm at my stack of stuff to show. Yeah, so we were at Doc Manager, the diary, uploading the documents to Remarkable, right? Then I do my actual work, right? Like that's going to be like 90% of my time is just sitting in front of these files and kind of thinking, which is something I've always done as a programmer. But in the past, I had to type after having done the thinking. I still have to type until until I have it automated.
Until you're just sketching, yeah.
And once I'm sure that, you know, this document looks good, there's nothing that like sticks out, I'm pretty sure I understand every part of it. Then I just tell it to implement it, which is the second part here. Let me see. So here I had to correct it a little bit, right? Like it was in the first version of this document, it was saying like, oh, I want a Wi-Fi server and HTTP server and a UI. And I was like, nah, for the first one, I don't want the network protocol. Just create the task and start implementing. Keep a detailed implementation diary, check off the task as you go. The tasks are very, very rudimentary. I want to make them like a little bit more advanced here. But they're just the tasks MD file and it just parses out
They
the
now,
markdowns.
FYI, they just recently made an update to, oh, well, you're using Codex, not Claude Code, but I assume Codex will get it eventually. where Claude's to-do right tool is now a tasks tool, which is the same thing that it used to call sub-agents. They were tasks too. So, Boris mentioned that there's now a JSON file in that folder that you can just you can read and write to that JSON file so that it's directly already integrated into your harness.
Yeah, I think there's going to be like a lot of cross. I have a couple of experiments with that stuff already.
I'm terminally interface brained at this point. I think it's very much kind of all starting to smush together.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing you want to do, right, is like when I start a new context window, what do I put into this context window?
Yep.
And so an obvious solution is obviously a markdown file, but if you have too much stuff in your markdown file, then you maybe want something like, beads or Taskmaster or whatever, the 18 different versions, 8,000 versions of task management that we have. But I find the diary a really interesting thing because it doesn't take much to prompt it. And it's very readable for a human, right? It's like very pleasant to read. And I can ask it to just add sections that I like, right? Like your task log is usually not going to have things like, oh, what warrants a second pair of eyes? And I can be like, hey, maybe I should look at this a little bit more closely. Like there might be a reason why I put this in there. And so I find that like kind of the best memory I have so far. And then combined with the fact that it's very easy to search for different keywords, right? Like it's able to search for the keyword M5GFX. It's able to find like past diaries and memories, and they're all like have this like file graph that also exists. Like there's I wonder if the graph actually still works. I know I broke it at some point. I have like a graph functionality here. I don't remember.
Where are these landing in version control? Are these hitting the same repo that they are about usually? And are they usually in like series of commits plus diary commit, series of commits plus diary commit kind of thing?
Yeah, so it doubles my amount of commits. That's why I'm so productive lately. Because it has to commit the code first to be able to put the commit number into the diary, right? So there's always going to be feature and then diary update, feature diary update. So it has the commit in there. And it puts them all, like this is configurable. There's like a config file that you can use to configure the template for the path where it puts them. And then it just stores them into this like repeatable structure. So if I look at the directories here, you can see it's like all very, very, very similar.
Nice. Yeah.
When I start Doc Manager, it actually walks over all the markdown files and puts them into an in-memory SQLite. It's apparently fast enough, at least for now. In the future, I might start to optimize a little bit.
Yeah, looks like that'll be prunable soon, or wanting to be prunable soon.
Yeah, I mean, computers are so fast. Like, I don't think like it's amazing to me how slow Cursor is because all it does is like display some text. It's fascinating. All right. So anyway, we were at the diary. We were at the implementation, and one of the cool things about this device is when I plug it in. So let me plug it in. Where is it? I actually lost it. Yeah, there it is. So I'm taking this device, I'm plugging it in, and it's going to show up as a serial terminal. So this allows the model to easily interact with it, right? Which means, and this is maybe one of the reasons why I like this ESP32 stuff so much, is they have an environment that's called ESP-IDF, and they have a tool IDF-PY, which I've rewritten in Go, but I don't remember where I put it. And you can basically listen to the serial terminal here, except I have to go into the right directory. Then I can do IDF-PY monitor, and so this is going to connect to the system serial console. The free RTOS, which is the environment that's running on these things, is configured to put all its debug logging onto the serial console, which is extremely useful because it actually gives the model a lot of information about things that are not obvious in embedded systems, right? Like I have only 512 kilobytes of RAM. I only have 8 megabytes of flash. I have like a partition table that might be wrong by the simple fact that this is always printed on boot and that the model has access to the boot logs. It's able to very quickly realize like, oh, I thought I had like 2 megabytes of RAM. Why do I only have 512? That's why it's crashing. And then it like fixes itself. So really, really powerful to have these debugging logs in there because they're not great at reasoning about these kind of things, right? Like hardware that they haven't seen before with like weird symbols everywhere. But as soon as you give them concrete information, the reasoning actually picks up on them pretty easily. And I have a collection of Python scripts that I wrote over time that parse that stuff. I have code that will output serialized PNGs of the display itself. So that way it's able to like analyze what's on screen of the embedded device. So very, very powerful. And then usually I have it like put a little REPL on here, right? So I can look at like the Wi-Fi status. I can do a Wi-Fi scan. I can see all of these things. I can also look at the status of my pattern. So the pattern currently is the rainbow. I can do the rainbow pattern just so that it's a little bit brighter, set at brightness 100. So now it's here, right? Like if I put it back at brightness 10, you'll see. And what this does is the model is able to like go into a loop with itself by running this in Tmux. So it's able to set the command. In this case, I don't have it take a screenshot, but for previous firmwares, it's able to set a command, take a screenshot, say like, oh, does this actually work? And kind of have a loop like this, for example. And I think that's maybe I don't even know what this does. This may be one of the most useful things I found to do embedded stuff, because if this thing crashes when you toggle like a pin, it will see the crash, it will see the stack trace, it will see the thing rebooting, and then it's going to be able to say like, hey, it looks like I crashed in this function, like let me go fix this function, and it kind of works by itself. So more and more, I'm able to like just start a firmware build and then have it like go swimming. And then, so for example, this dude here, I don't even know what this thing is doing. I think this is like a JavaScript. Oh yeah, this one's fun. This is maybe like, I don't know how much time we have, 42.
Yeah, 20 minutes, 15 minutes.
All right, so I'll skip the cool firmwares. I have JavaScript running on the device. I ported like MicroQuick.js, or rather I had code export MicroQuick.js, so I'm able to do JavaScript on the device, controlling the hardware, but also being able to do WebSockets to the browser, so the browser can trigger JavaScript on the device. Like it's kind of crazy.
Oh,
Actually,
let
me see that since I have the IP here. It seems to remember the network. That's cool. 168.1.205. All right, so this is Codex is great at doing UIs that look exactly like the UI I would have done. So if you click run over here, you can see this is actually executed on the device, right? And then it has like a little encoder. You can see the events coming from the encoder over WebSocket here. And then when I click, I get these like little click events. But what I can also do is like, I can emit events from my little JavaScript console. So you can see here, that's actually sent by the device over Wi-Fi through the JavaScript interpreter that's running on there. And I can do things like this. So here I'm going to do YOLO, click. And if I run this, and then I click the encoder, you'll see I have like my YOLO payload here. Kind of crazy. It built this in one shot as well.
Are you 5.2 codecs extra high, or what model are you
Just high,
running?
just
Just
high.
high. Nice.
And I think a lot of this is just like the feedback loop is really, really useful. And what I use
Mhm.
on the free RTOS is so depending on if you know embedded or not, you have like interrupt handlers. When you click something or when you do something on the electronic side, you can register for it to be called in an interrupt. Like it basically interrupts your CPU and says like, hey, someone just clicked a button. You don't have much time here, right? Like, because at this point, everything's blocked. So if you're like showing LEDs, you don't want to wait too long. And I have it use like a pub sub bus, like an event queue, which allows me to actually have the LLM inject hardware events without having to toggle the hardware, right? Like I can just tell it like, hey, send this over the console to emulate a button having been clicked. And this will actually be a button click. So it allows the model to kind of interact with the whole system.
This is
Um,
maybe a high level or a higher level question, but considering the work that you're doing in embedded is sort of by default like in a more event-driven kind of subscribable architecture, have you found that certain patterns are working better because of you being in an embedded system right now, or any like interesting stuff like that occurring to you?
no, I model it very similarly to my web stuff or
Hmm.
to my Go stuff. Is like everything's event driven. The WebSocket is like JSON payloads. Like here, it happens to be binary payloads because I don't want to decode JSON on the device, but
Mhm.
it's all kind of like the same concept. So as far as the LLM is concerned, it can write JavaScript for the web UI uh, using like Redux, for example. But on the device itself, the JavaScript also has Zustand because it Redux is a little bit too much. And so it's the same JavaScript code, right? Like I can maintain state in my JavaScript interpreter by using like a Redux like pattern. The same way I can use like event handlers for everything. So I try to make all the things match pretty closely,
Hmm.
um, so that I know which patterns work well. And so that's why I want to have JavaScript on the device, right? It's like Jay is not a programmer, but I still want Jay to be able to experiment with LED patterns. So I'm going to give them JavaScript. That way they can just copy paste from ChatGPT and be like, hey, I want like a rainbow pattern. And then you
Yeah.
take the JavaScript code and you run it on the device. You don't need to reflash it. You don't need to do any of that stuff. Um, so before we finish, just to show you how I'm able to one-shot these things, because if you open a new project and you put this prompt in it, what the heck? Uh, if you put this prompt in it, which I don't find anymore, but the one I had at the beginning of like, hey, create a new ticket with this. Like, if you put that in an empty project, it's going to be like it won't work. And the reason, however, I know that it will work and that I was able to engineer my way to it is that I started very easily with the computer hello world, right? Um, because if I can make this work, like, what are we even doing? So I started by getting it to build like a very simple hello world, which, as you can see, is already like a little bit more complex, right? Um, there's things like, oh, it's app main, not main. It needs to import these different things. It has like a CMake list that looks like this. It has like a partition CSV, all of that stuff. It has like a Python script that will connect to the serial terminal and will like check that the hello world string appears. So all of this is like kind of cache computation, right? Like the model has done a bunch of reasoning. This probably took like a context window or two until it worked. Um, and then once I have this, I'm like, yeah, I'm going to reuse that. I'm going to do some more PyTest on this. Um, let's save it. And so at this point, I know, hey, I have a computer hello world. If I make a new ticket and I say like, well, use the hello world to create this, I know it will find this firmware. It will find the ticket and all the diary and all that stuff related to this, which means that if it makes a mistake compiling the firmware, for example, which is very possible, it will at least find also the way to fix it because it has already done that in the past and it's been recorded in the diary. And so from here, I built my way up. I was like, hey, I want event queues. So my second one is going to be like, hey, use hello world.main C and now make it an event queue with this message, right? So now suddenly, after a context window or two of thinking, I have something I can reuse that tells me at least roughly what such a thing looks like, that there's like execute receive and that there's these different things to be done. A lot of it is in the training corpus, but it's off like, right, like it's embedded code, so it's not like the most readable code overall. Like this is not code that LLMs like, right? Like base type TOK1, like what the heck? And so slowly I'm building this up. I said like I have interrupt routines and I want an event queue. So this was like the next step. And in my head I knew, oh, I want to have event queues to simulate hardware events. So I very clearly like prompted myself into this direction. Then I said like, hey, I want to do I2C. And then I was like, hey, I want to do like Wi-Fi. And then I want to do like, hey, I want to do Wi-Fi HTTP client. And then I want the computer keyboard. And then I want to display an animation. So I like kind of built myself up. And each of these steps is just like a tiny little step from before. So I know that the model won't struggle too much. There are also little steps. Each of these is something I wanted to learn. So it's something that I know I can absorb within a day or two. And now I'm able to, right? Like once I had the GIF console, for example, so having a GIF decoder was not easy because GIFs can get really big. It was like crashing my memory. So I had to like do decoding of each frame into memory, not decode the whole thing and then play it back. Like there were a lot of like little things here that were like a little bit trickier. Then I started adding the console to it, which was getting blocked by a ton of things. So the code started getting like more and more complex, right? But each of these things has a diary and has a design document that correspond to how it was built and why it was built. And the why is kind of interesting because it will recreate the errors that it did in the past, right? Like the training corpus doesn't magically evolve. So that way it's able to grab for error messages and just find like the previous document that describes why this error happened. And then there's a bunch of scripts that it can reuse to like say, convert GIFs to other GIFs and that kind of stuff. And so I've like slowly being able to build myself up to where we are right now, where I just need to say like, hey, GFX, LED chain, and boom, it like kind of finds all the relevant firmwares, right? Like the computer ADV, I have it down here. M5GFX, I have it down here, right? Like I had to build like a whole suite of demos here, for example, of like primitives and keyboards and text and whatever. And all right, but we're getting towards the end, so maybe 2 minutes of questions and then wrap it up. I haven't looked at the chat, so I'm not sure what's there.
Yeah, I haven't either because unfortunately it doesn't let me while I'm screen sharing, which is a bit silly. Oh, maybe. Oh no, I found them. Oh, okay. Oh, there's a bunch
So
of them.
Mark B was asking if I micromanage the models or the thinking budgets at all, or is it always the same model, same budget for every task? It's the same model pretty much always, and I don't care. Like I try to one shot in the sense that I want to input the least amount of prompting possible, right? Like this is a really long prompt as far as I'm concerned, because I think I was trying to be clever here. So this is a long prompt for me. Usually the prompts are more like this. And I tried to keep it at like 2 or 3, right? Like here I had to interrupt it because it was starting to, and this is something I should put in the skill. I wanted to keep every code that it writes, like codex, like writing inline Python. And then often this Python is like 80 lines of Python, and then it makes a syntax error, and then it repeats the 80 lines, and then it makes the same syntax error, and it's just like crazy. And then I lose it. Like it's probably a very useful script, except I won't even know what it ran. So here I interrupted it. And then I was trying to play with the device at the same time that it was trying to flash it. So I was like, I'm sorry, man, I'm giving you back your console because it
Get
was
this human out of the loop right now.
yeah, like a good way to drive an LLM crazy is to not connect the device and then say flash the device. It will go absolutely mental because it will be like,
You
oh, it
have
looks
to
like the
be
zero
good
console
meat.
is not here, so I'm gonna create a zero console over here with a FIFO, and it's gonna be like it's wild.
Mhm.
And yeah, this is like, see, this is, I added the web server actually on this device. This is like the usual amount of prompting that I do. It's like, I want a web server, I'm going to prompt to add a web server. And I mean, it sounds ridiculous, but like if it doesn't work, there's going to be a reason why it doesn't work. And it will teach me why asking for a web server, when in my head, it's kind of clear what I mean by that. If the model doesn't understand what it means to add a web server, then it means I have to improve my prompt engineering, right? And in this case, I knew that the previous firmware had web server in its name and that it had found it in the document. So I was like, hey, I'm good. And indeed, I was good because if I look at the diary, it actually created it correctly. So that's for the as far as models and thinking budgets go. I do make one exceptions when I have to create UIs that don't look like developer UIs. I usually go to Opus. Usually I go just to Opus and Cloud AI. That way I don't spend any credits. And so if we look at, what was this device? What was it? 1205? Yeah, do we still have that? Yeah. So let's say I want something that's not as garbage as this. I'll go to Claude.
You just screenshot, drop it in, make a better one. Easy peasy.
So yeah, but I'll show you a really cool trick, which is like, I don't know if you've played with like specifications for UIs, kind of a
A
shit
little
show.
bit. A little bit.
So what I'm going to do is like create a better UI for my embedded JavaScript, output as ASCII screenshots, no code.
Oh,
Also
ASCII screenshots
output the
plus
widget,
DSL. Yeah. Okay. YAML
and
DSL. Yep.
callback actions as separate YAML DSL
I
and
love this
repeatable
pattern. This is such a good one.
complexity.
Mhm.
Because now I can basically, without writing like 18,000 lines of React, I get something that's like really on point when I give it to GPT-5. Like if I give this to GPT-5, it will actually build a UI that's sensible, right? Like because it
Yep.
doesn't have much room for interpretation.
Last 3 minutes, I like Luigi's question here. How much of the embedded hardware, like SDK and or docs, did you include in the material for getting Codex to work on this for you? Or did you include any at all and just rely on what's already been pre-trained into it?
I give it no documentation. However, I give it the permissions to read the source code of the ESP libraries. And so sometimes
Right.
when I see it struggle, I say like, hey, read the source.
Do you
then
clone
it
those
goes read the
down?
source. And yeah, the way you install it is you clone them. So
Oh, okay, got it. Like
and
just
it
that's
has,
just a thing you have to do for embedded or something.
that's the way Espressif distributes it, which is really nice because all of these are basically a work tree.
Nice.
So it's a single work tree, but I have like the compiler checked out in different versions.
Right.
And then the GPT-5.2 knows enough about ESP-IDF to know exactly where to look for source code. And then what I did for a lot of these devices is I cloned the demo firmware that it came with, which are usually pretty good. Some of them are a little bit more problematic than others. And those I used to prime like the original.
I think
first
Kevin's got a
version of
good question here of, is there a good way if you don't have the hardware right now? Is there a good way to like experiment with these techniques with like a simulator or something like that?
So you can run it in QEMU. That was so problematic. I had such a hard time getting it up and running that I was like, fuck this, I'm just connecting the device.
Sure.
That said, these are like $5. So I highly recommend getting some. They have
So
them
order a
in,
couple, see what happens, you know.
yeah, they have them in like a million different formats. They have them as like a more IoT kind of thing. They have it in like a button. You have it like as watches. You have they're all pretty cool. They're all like very affordable. They come with like they feel really nice. Like I can highly recommend getting the real device because otherwise
Yeah,
it's just like not fun.
shoot me a couple of links afterwards. I'll put them
Yeah,
in my show notes.
there's I don't know who W is, but I guess Luigi.
Luigi, yeah.
Luigi linked it.
Cool,
Um,
sick.
Yeah,
all
what are
right.
you sorry, just if you said this already, but what are you doing with these? Like what is the like project? Are you like making products or
So one project is for Jay's sculptures. I can go. I went absolutely bonkers on the features of this thing. It has like a multicast distributed protocol with an embedded JavaScript thing with like a Bluetooth app on the phone. Like I just went completely nuts. I use them at home for controlling my lights, like just the Zigbee stuff. Haven't done anything other than that that was useful. Um, yeah, I have like a bunch of projects in the works for scanning film and like any kind of electronics. Oh yeah, I do have like a film development chemistry station that I built with it. Trying to remember. I don't know. It's just like uh, this is this is like a WebSocket streaming camera protocol that I built on it. I think um, I don't know, whatever random stuff just comes to mind because it's so easy now, right? Like this would used to take me like 2 3 days, and it'd be like, how what the fuck doesn't it flash? And then you realize, oh, it's just a partition table needs like 0x at the beginning. Like this stuff drives you insane. Now it's like, hey, I want to have like a cool list of my Zigbee devices that I can select using JavaScript, and then I go swimming, and I come back and I'm like, oh, it works, cool.
ah, nice.
Which
That's
is
awesome. Thanks.
all right,
Sweet.
cool.
Yeah, we're a couple minutes past time, so we're good to go. Any last final thoughts, anything, any takeaways, any comments, questions, concerns, anything anybody wanted to add right at the end? Otherwise, amazing show as always, Mr. Manuel.
All right, see you folks.
Sick. See you next week.